Greetings from Dr. Selina Margaret. Today we are going to see plot development in She Stoops to Conquer. She Stoops to Conquer by Oliver Goldsmith. Here you find Kate Hardcastle pretending to be a barmaid to win Marlowe. So I have given two pictures here. The first one is the first copy of the book and the second one is from one of the recent stage productions of She Stoops to Conquer. Oliver Goldsmith is an essayist, a poet and a dramatist. He is an Anglo-Irish writer. He is a Polish literary artist. His success as a writer depends on these characteristics. The charm of personality emanated by his style, his affection for his characters, his mischievous irony, his spontaneous interchange of gaiety and sadness. He was, as a writer, natural, simple and affecting. She Stoops to Conquer opens with a prologue in which an actor mourns the death of the classical low comedy at the altar of sentimental mawkish comedy. He hopes that Dr. Goldsmith can remedy this problem through the play which is about to be presented. So in this picture you find the two friends, Kate and Constance. Can you guess who is Kate and who is Constance? The one who is seated on the floor is Kate Hardcastle and one who is seated on the chair is Constance Neville. Act 1 is full of setup for the rest of the play, what we can find in the rest of the play. Mr. and Mrs. Hardcastle live in an old house that resembles an inn and they are waiting for the arrival of Marlowe, son of Mr. Hardcastle's old friend and a possible suitor to his daughter Kate. Kate is very close to her father, so much so that she dresses plainly in the evenings to suit his conservative tastes and fancifully in the mornings for her friends. The picture depicts Mr. and Mrs. Hardcastle in argument. Meanwhile, Mrs. Hardcastle's niece Constance is in the old woman's care and has her small inheritance which consists of some valuable jewels. Mrs. Hardcastle can hold those jewels until Constance is married and Mrs. Hardcastle wants Constance to marry her spoiled son from an earlier marriage, Tony Lumpkin. The problem is that neither Tony nor Constance loves the other and in fact Constance has a beloved who will be travelling to the house that night with Marlowe. Tony's problem is also that he is a drunk and a lover of low living, which he shows when the play shifts to a pub nearby. When Marlowe and Hastings arrive at the pub, lost on the way to Hardcastle's, Tony plays a practical joke by telling the two men that there is no room at the pub and that they can find lodging at the old inn down the road, which is of course Mr. Hardcastle's home. So here you find glimpses from the play. The first one is from the house of Mr. Hardcastle. You find Mr. Hardcastle scolding Tony Lumpkin and he doesn't take it seriously, and you in the next picture you find Marlowe and Hastings on their way to Mr. Hardcastle's home thinking it to be an inn. Act 2, we find the plot getting little complicated. When Marlowe and Hastings arrive, they are impertinent and rude with Hardcastle, whom they think is a landlord and not a host, because of Tony's trick when they met Tony in the pub called Three Pigeons. So they are under the impression that this is actually an inn and Mr. Hardcastle is overstepping his limits. Hardcastle expects Marlowe to be a polite young man and is shocked at his behavior. Constance finds Hastings and reveals to him that Tony must have played a trick. However, they decide to keep the truth from Marlowe because they think revealing it will upset him and ruin the trip. They decide they will try to get her jewels and elope together. Marlowe has a bizarre tendency to speak with exaggerated timidity to modest women, while speaking in lively and haughty tones to women of low class. This happened because he didn't have his mother and he never had the chance of talking to women from high families, elite families. He has been always living in the hostels while he was studying. So the women and maids in the hostel, only to them he had talked. So he is afraid and is very shy to talk to women from the elite class. When he has his first meeting with Kate, she is dressed well and hence drives him into a debilitating stupor because of his inability to speak to modest women. She is nevertheless attracted to him and she decides to try and draw his true character. Tony and Hastings decide together that Tony will steal the jewels for Hastings and Constance so that he can be rid of his mother's pressure to marry Constance, whom he doesn't love. Act 3 opens with Hardcastle and Kate each confused with the side of the Marlowe they saw. Mr. Hardcastle has seen his rude behavior, whereas Kate has seen his shy behavior. Where Mr. Hardcastle is shocked at his impertinence. Impertinence means rude behavior. Kate is disappointed to have seen only modesty. Kate asks her father for the chance to show him that Marlowe is more than both of them believe to be. Tony has stolen the jewels, but Constance doesn't know and she continues to beg her aunt for her jewels. Tony convinces Mrs. Hardcastle to pretend that the jewels were stolen to dissuade Constance, to discourage Constance. A plea Mrs. Hardcastle willingly accepts until she realizes that actually the jewels have been stolen. Meanwhile, Kate is now dressed in her plain dress and she is mistaken by Marlowe, who never looked at her in their earlier meeting, as he knows her to be the woman from elite family. And now, as she is dressed as a barmaid, Marlowe is attracted towards her and he wants to talk to her. So she decides to play the part. So she stoops from her elite level to that of an ordinary barmaid to win the love of Marlowe. And Kate and Marlowe have a lively, fun-filled conversation that ends with him trying to embrace her, a move which is observed by Mr. Hardcastle from a distance. Kate asks for the night to prove that he can be both respectful and lively. She tells her father to give her some time to prove that Marlowe can be a respectful young man. Act 4 finds the plans almost falling apart. News has spread that Sir Charles Marlowe, Mr. Hardcastle's friend and father of young Marlowe, is on his way to Mr. Hardcastle's house, which will reveal Hastings' identity as beloved of Constance and also force the question of whether Kate and Marlowe are about to be married. Hastings has sent the jewels in a casket to Marlowe for safekeeping, but Marlowe, confused, has given them to Mrs. Hardcastle, whom he still believes is the landlady of the inn. When Hastings learns this, he realizes his plan to elope with wealth is over and he decides he must convince Constance to elope immediately. Meanwhile, Marlowe's impertinence towards Hardcastle, whom he believes is the landlord, reaches its apex, and Hardcastle kicks him out of the house, during which altercation Marlowe begins to realize what is actually happening. He finds Kate, who now pretends to be a poor relation to the Hardcastles, which would make her a proper match as far as class, but not a good marriage as far as wealth. Marlowe is starting to love her, but cannot pursue it because it would be unacceptable to his father because of her lack of wealth, so he leaves her. Meanwhile, a letter from Hastings arrives that Mrs. Hardcastle intercepts, and she reads that he waits for Constance in the garden, ready to elope. Angry, she insists that she will bring Constance far away and makes plans for that. Marlowe, Hastings, and Tony confront one another, and the anger over all the deceit leads to a severe argument, resolved temporarily when Tony promises to solve the problem for Hastings. Act 5, which is the final act, finds the truth coming to light and everyone is happy. Sir Charles has arrived and he and Hastings laugh together over the confusion young Marlowe was in. Marlowe arrives to apologize, and in the discussion over Kate, claims he barely talked to her. Hardcastle accuses him of lying since Mr. Hardcastle saw him embrace Kate, but Marlowe does not know that it was indeed Kate whom he has mistook for a barmaid. Kate arrives after Marlowe leaves the room and convinces the older men she will reveal the full truth if they watch an interview between the two from a hidden vantage behind the screen. Meanwhile, Hastings waits in the garden as per Tony's instruction, and Tony arrives to tell him that he drove his mother and Constance all over in circles so that they think they are lost far from home when in fact they have been left nearby. Mrs. Hardcastle, distraught, arrives and is convinced she must hide from a highwayman who is approaching. The highwayman proves to be Mr. Hardcastle, who scares her in her confusion for a while, but ultimately discovers what is happening. Hastings and Constance nearby decide they will not elope, but rather appeal to Mr. Hardcastle for mercy to accept their match. Back at the house, the interview between Kate, who is playing the poor relation, and Marlowe reveals his truly good character, and after some discussion, everyone agrees to the match. Hastings and Constance ask permission to marry, and since Tony is actually of age and therefore can of his own volition decide not to marry Constance, the permission is granted. All are happy except for the miserly Mrs. Hardcastle, and the mistakes of a night have been corrected. So that is the subtitle of the play, Mistakes of a Night. So there are two epilogues generally printed to the play, one of which sketches in metaphor Goldsmith's attempt to bring comedy back to its traditional roots, and the other of which suggests Tony Lumpkin has adventures yet to be realized. Thank you.